Functions of the integumentary system. Major function of this organ system is protection. Many elements of the integumentary system serve to protect. The skin reduces dehydration or water loss from the body. It acts as a barrier also for microorganisms and other foreign substances like toxins from entering the body. It protects underlying structures from abrasion, and the melanin within the skin absorbs UV, ultraviolet light, to protect us from the damaging effects, reducing the chances of cancer. Hair can have a protective function also. On the head, it acts as a heat insulator to conserve body heat. The eyebrows keep sweat from running into the eyes, and eyelashes protect the eyes from dust, dirt, and other foreign objects that might enter. And the hair found in the nose and the ears prevents entry of anything we don't want going in, like dust. Humans don't have a whole lot of hair, but what we do have does help protect us. The nails at the ends of the fingers will protect these areas and can also be used in self-defense. So many protective elements, making protection the number one function. Sensation is also a major function, as this organ system is the most superficial. So what made it protective also makes it able to detect sensation, which is information about the external environment. This is due to the many nerve endings or receptors, both free nerve endings and specialized sensory receptors found in both the epidermis and dermis, which detect a wide range of sensations from pain to thermal to touch, light touch, deep pressure, as well as itch and tickle. Sensory receptors are also found associated with each hair follicle. These detect the movement of the hair. So, while the hair doesn't have any nerve endings and consists of dead tissue, when the hair moves, we can detect that. And we can see some of them here. There's called the hair root plexus or hair follicle receptor that wraps around the follicle. And then this is a specialized ending called a Pacinian corpuscle, which has an encapsulated nerve ending. This is specialized for detecting deep pressure. And we have a couple other different encapsulated nerve endings. And then free nerve endings, which will allow us to detect a variety of different things like pain. Vitamin D production is also an important function of the skin specifically. This occurs when the skin is exposed to UV light. So keep this in mind because this trips people up. Melanin is what protects us against UV light. Right? So UV light bad, and then melanin helps us. But then UV light good because it produces vitamin D. So just everything is complicated in biology. So UV light has a negative and positive here. UV light causes the skin to produce a precursor molecule to vitamin D. This is not used yet as active vitamin D. It's a complicated process. This precursor molecule is then carried via the blood to the liver, where it is modified by enzymes and converted to another molecule, which is then carried again by the blood to the kidneys, where it is finally converted to active vitamin D that can be used by the body. This is particularly important because vitamin D is not found in many foods. There are some foods, fish oils like cod liver oil, certain foods like milk and juice can be fortified, and then eggs, organ meats, butter can contain vitamin D. But that's not a long list. So the vitamin D that we produce this way is an important component. Many people are deficient in vitamin D. It's one that people in the U.S. are frequently missing in adequate quantities. Some of this has to do with the use of sunscreen. Sunscreen is recommended because it protects us from the harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation. However, it significantly cuts down on vitamin D production. So if we're out in the sun a lot but we're using a lot of sunscreen, a supplement might be the best way to get adequate amounts of this. Vitamin D is important because it is essential in absorbing calcium and phosphate, which we need for healthy, dense bones and also for muscle and nerve functioning. We can ingest as much calcium as we can, but without enough vitamin D, we cannot absorb it. The integument also is going to play a role, several roles, in temperature regulation. Temperature is one of the many variables that we maintain at set point, even though the external environment changes. Physical activity, fever, changes in the external environment can all change our body temperature. We're supposed to be at about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. This is because we rely on a host of proteins called enzymes to speed up and process our chemical reactions, like metabolism. These reactions make our body run. Without them, our body would not function. Enzymes, as all proteins, are very sensitive to temperature. So changes in body temperatures, even if they're very small, can disrupt these reactions and cause these enzymes to malfunction. Whether we get too hot or too cold, the integumentary system can help us. If we get too hot, if we're working out or it's a really hot day and we are just getting too hot, to cool us down, blood vessels in the dermis will dilate or widen, which causes blood flow to increase right below the surface. Heat is then transferred from deep within the core of the body, deep within our tissues, to right below the surface, where it can be lost to the external environment. In addition, our sweat glands, and I hope you remember which ones, you think back. It's our eccrine sweat glands, produce a watery sweat secretion that will evaporate from the surface of the skin to cool us down further. If we get too cold, these same blood vessels will constrict or tighten up, which reduces blood flow and causes blood to remain deep in the tissues where heat can be retained by the body. So here we can see blood vessels right underneath the epidermis, and they can dilate or widen allowing increased blood flow and that heat within the blood to be lost. Same blood vessels here, constrict, vasoconstriction, reducing blood flow. More blood is kept at the deeper part of the body, and we can conserve the heat within the blood. Now, lastly, there was an excretory function. Remember, this is a really tiny role, but we'll talk about it. We want to give the integumentary system its due. This is the elimination of waste products. And again, it's the urinary system that is the major player. However, when we sweat, particularly that eccrine, watery sweat, and it's mostly water and salts, but there's trace amounts of waste products like urea, uric acid, ammonia, and as we sweat, these waste products are lost as well. No matter how much we sweat, even if it's a really hot day and we're sweating profusely, it's never going to add up to much waste. But hey, a little bit is lost, so it's technically still a function.